to do is open things up for any questions we may have. We've got plenty of time to answer whatever questions, and if I can't answer them, then we've got directors and other folks here that will probably take them. I'll kind of get the ball rolling with, we had some folks that submitted questions on Facebook, and so we can kind of hit some of those. One of them is about the lack of parking around the Sparkman. The question is there a plan to do anything about it? And the answer is actually there is. And Mr. Davis has actually got some design on multiple options that he would present to the leadership up here at ECOM, hopefully in the very near future, so they kind of decide how they want to do it. But there are some pretty good options for expanding the parking in this immediate area. And so we are working that. So it's just a matter of getting the design picked and getting it funded. So it won't be solved overnight, but we're working in that direction. So good question. Another question is about, we actually got two different questions relating to traffic around the gates. Mr. Davis touched on rerouting of Goss Road. And I'll tell you what that is just step one of what will probably be about 12 different steps in making trafficability on Rideout Road and around Gate 9 better. And so one of the things we got to do is kind of solve the intersection issue. That intersection is right outside of Gate 9, on the north side of Gate 9. And then that will allow more space to do more on-ramping so you can actually get over if you want to go eastbound 565, have a much longer on-ramp so you can get segregated over into that traffic pattern and head east. More dedicated lanes for westbound as well as more dedicated lanes for northbound. So we are looking in those directions, still working a lot of the designs. We expect as the EUL gets built up, there will probably be some periods of times where it gets worse before it gets better. But we are working traffic patterns around the gates and the width and things of roads on Rideout. And it also had a question about Gate 7, same kind of thing. We saw Martin's getting turned into a 4-lane on-post. We're expanding that gate. The city's actually working very, very hard with the state and with some federal sources to get monies to potentially widen Martin Road to the west of Zurich Road. So potentially be able to widen Martin Road, James Record Road, all the way out to vicinity airport. So we know that's a major corridor for folks that are coming in out of northwest Huntsville, coming from Coleman and other places to the west, coming out of Madison, those kind of things. We expect Gate 7 to really be, over time, one of the major corridors for folks commuting in and out of the Arsenal. And so there's a lot of work going on in that area. But it's going to take time. You've all seen how long it takes to expand roads. So again, it's not going to be something that's going to be solved very, very quickly. But really the question is getting at, are we even thinking about it? What else do we think we're doing? And so we are working at that. There are also your questions, because whoever submitted them may actually be here in the room. You actually had some ideas embedded in your questions, and I'll pass that on to our traffic management folks. Some things maybe be done in the near term. And then there was a question about the Huntsville City Schools. Is there any thoughts of putting an elementary school on post? And actually, the answer is no, we haven't thought about putting an elementary school on post. We'll take a look at kind of where our demographics is going. One of the things that we know is happening with the organizations that are moving here, both with BRAC and non-BRAC, is our rank demographics are changing for, particularly for our active duty soldiers, but also there'll be some impact civilian employees as well. As we lose OMENs, we basically lose almost our entire soldier population of those young soldiers, E1 through E4, 5, and even up in E6. We'll still have a few left, but the big bulk of them depart. And the folks that are coming in with AMC headquarters or ACC tend to be senior non-commissioned officers. So you're going to see a lot of sergeants first class, master sergeant, sergeant major, as well as more senior officers, majors and above. And so, on average, folks of that rank tend to be older and tend to have fewer children, I think. So we think, and emphasis on think, because we're still studying it and we'll kind of watch how things go, we think what we may see over time, over the next couple of years, is kind of that average age of the folks that live on post that would go to that kind of school will probably be older. And so we think that actually the child population living on post will probably go down. And so we're watching it very, very closely. If we're wrong about that, and as we see things, if we think that that's the right strategy in partnership with the city of Huntsville to have them put an elementary school on post, we would certainly have that conversation. But that's not going on right now. As I think we all see in the papers, they're actually looking at contracting their schools as opposed to expanding. Right now, the children that live on post, their school district is Williams Elementary Middle School out here in southwest Huntsville.